Assalamu alaikum. Welcome everyone to this video. Before I start, let me introduce myself. My name is Mohammed and I am a cybersecurity researcher. And in this video, I'm going to show you a walkthrough on Lab 2 practical. So in this video, I'm going to cover the overview of the terminal and how to use it with the basic Linux commands. And at the end, I'm gonna show you how to solve the lab questions. Now let's start. After logging in, you will see this black screen and a minus character that blinks. So basically here we will input our Linux commands. At the beginning, let's start with the basic commands. Let's start with pwd, print working directory. What this command means is that we want to show or print the location of our workplace. If we click enter, you're gonna see home, the user ID, and the directory that you are in. Let me give you another example using ls command. But before that, let me tell you about the man or the manual. If you face or get introduced to a new command and you have no idea about it and you don't know how to use it, we basically refer to the manual. To access the manual, we basically type man and the name of the command, which is ls. After that, a manual page will be opened for us, which is for the ls that lists directory contents. And here are different types of arguments that we can use within the command. For this manual page, if you want to go down a line, you click or press on enter. As you can see, we are scrolling down. But if you want to go to the next page, you are going to press on space. And finally, if you want to quit this manual page, you are going to press on Q. And now to use the command, we are gonna type ls. So this is the basic thing. We are listing the content of the directory. After we knew how to use the manual command to access the manual of a specific command, now we are ready to solve the lab. So at the beginning, we want to create a directory called lab2. To create a directory in the CLI, we are gonna use the mkdir followed by the directory name, which is lab2. It's a so simple command. We use mkdir, which is the command that will allow us to create a directory followed by the name of the directory that we want. Now to verify our command, we are gonna type ls, and as you can see, we have created a directory called lab2. Now to access this directory or entering this directory, we are going to use the cd command, which is the one responsible for changing the directories. So we basically gonna type cd followed by the name of the directory. Now if we list or do pwd, we are gonna see our path or the location of our working directory, and as you can see, we are inside lab2. Going now to question 2. Question 2 says that we need to create a file called file1.txt and another file called file2 without any extension. So to create a file, we are basically gonna use the command touch followed by the file name, which is file1.txt, and the same goes for the another file, which is file2. To verify our command, we are gonna do ls, and as you can see, we have file1.txt and file2. So now we want to know the difference between them. Let me tell you the difference. The first file has an extension of .txt, which indicates that the file is text file. But for the another file, which is file2, we don't have any extension, which means this file could be a text file or a binary file or any other type of files. But in general, yes, they are both valid files. We can edit them both. Moreover, going to point B, we need to list the standard files and directories in the lab2 directory in a long format. An example includes date and time. So basically, if we want to list in a long format, we are gonna use ls followed by the argument tag or -l. So this is how we list files or the content of directory in a long format. And remember, if you feel that you are lost in some part or you don't know how to use the command, please refer to the manual page by using man followed by the command, which is the one that we are using, ls. Then we need to list all files in the lab2 directory in the long format and see the difference between the first one, which is ls-l, and the one that we are going to do right now, which is ls-la. So basically, we used the argument la, which means do not ignore the hidden files. So basically, the dot is the hidden files in the system. So we used a to show these hidden files. So these are the difference between this output and this output, that we can see also the hidden files. In addition, we can see the sizes of the directories and the number of sub-items in the directory. Furthermore, we are going to repeat this step, but instead we are going to redirect this output in a file. So to do this, what we are gonna do is use the same command again, ls-la, but to redirect the output or to send it to somewhere else, we are going to use the right arrow, which indicates for the redirection, and the file name, which is lab2 underscore question2.txt, and press enter. And as you can see that there is no output because this output is now stored inside this file. To verify that, we want to read this file, and to read this file we are going to use cat followed by lab2 question2.txt. Here we go. Going next to question 3, we need to change our directory to the home directory and do the same by listing our directory in a long format with a date and a time and with the hidden files. And then we are gonna store the output in a file. So let's do this. So a simpler way to go back into your home directory is by typing cd followed by this character. Click enter. Let's verify our command by typing pwd, and as you can see, we are now in our home directory. Now we need to list our home directory in a long format by using ls-l. Next, they want us to list all files in our directory in the long format. We are going to use ls-la. So I'm just repeating the steps of the last question. And now we want to redirect this output into a file. As I showed you, we are going to use the command followed by the right arrow that indicates for the redirection, and followed by the file name, which is lab2 question3.txt. Let's ls to verify that we have the file. Perfect. Now let's read the file lab2 the question3.txt, and as you can see we have stored the output of this ls command in this file. Also to mention that our lab2 question3.txt is in our home directory, not inside the lab2 directory. So to move this file inside our lab file, we are gonna use the command mv followed by the lab file, which is lab2 q3.txt, followed by the directory or the destination of the place that we want this file to be stored in, which is lab2. To verify that, we are gonna access the lab2 file and list it, and we are gonna see our lab file. Let's go to question 4. We display our current working directory. As I showed you, to print our working directory, we are just gonna type pwd. Then in the question it says that we need to enter the directory of the other students. Can we do it or not? Let's try it. Let me clear the page first. Then let's go a directory back. To go a directory back, we are gonna use the command cd followed by double dot. Now we are here in the home directory, not in my user home directory. Now if I type ls, I'm gonna see all the directories of the student and other directories. Now here they told us if we can access any student directory. So let's choose any student, which is this one, and let's try if we can access it or not. A2022020075. And as you can see, we don't have permission to do that. Now let's go back into my user directory lab2. So to do this, or going back, we are not gonna use this. Instead, we are gonna specify /home my user ID 2022-0308 and lab2. And here we go, we are inside lab2. Now last but not least, question 5. We are going to use the command echo Unix is great and redirect this output into a file called lab2 q5.txt. This file is stored now in this directory lab2. Next, we want to append the output of the ls command in this file. So before that, let's read the file lab2 q5.txt. We have Unix is great. We want to append the output of the list command into this file without removing Unix is great. So to do that, we are gonna do ls, and for this time we are gonna do the list in a long format and append the output into the file lab2 q5.txt. So take a note of here that we have used double right arrow, which indicates for the append. So if we want to redirect the output, we use a single one, but if we want to append, we need to use a double one. The main differences between the single and the double that the single one will take the latest result and replace it into the specified file, while the double one, the append, will not remove the old content of a file. Instead, it will add it with the file. So let's press enter, and now let's read the file again and see the result. Here we have the result or the output of the ls command appended in the file, and Unix is great, did not get deleted. Finally, now we have reached the final step, which is grouping these files and putting it into a zip file. Before that, if you want to know or check the presence of the files, we are gonna use ls followed by the files to retrieve them, and here we can verify their existence. Next, we are gonna zip them into a file. So to do this, we are gonna use the zip command followed by the file or the zip file name, which is lab02, followed by the student ID. Here you need to put your student ID, which is, for example, 2022-00308, and next followed by the files that we wanted to be inside the zip file, which is lab2 question 2 and lab2 question 3 and lab2 question 5. Here we go, we have added these three files inside a zip file called lab02. To verify that, we can list the content of the directory, and here we can view our zip file. And that's all for solving lab 2. Just upload it to Moodle, and thank you for watching this video.